Hey everyone, I just kind of wanted to make a rambly type of review type of thing where I talk about Story of Seasons Trio of Towns. This is unscripted and super kind of rambly, which is probably my goal here. I wanted to talk about the game now that I've played it a lot more since my first impression review, and I'm almost halfway through winter at this point, and I wanted to kind of finish an entire year, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I do have all three towns, and I do have my thoughts and impressions of the game, so I thought I'd talk about it a little bit more loosely and just kind of talk about my feelings on the game and stuff like that. I hold up my opinion in which I said that the game is good. I do think it's a good game. It's much better than the first Story of Seasons game, and I'm still having a lot of fun with it. And actually, for the longest time I was playing it incorrectly because I thought that I had to do the part-time jobs every day, and pretty much I thought that was the only way you could raise your town link rating. And I did the part-time jobs, which is a mini game, a really kind of dull mini game, which is usually just pressing the A button or like fetch quests. And I found out that not only do you not have to do those to raise the town link rating, you actually shouldn't try to do that as your primary thing anyway, because it's actually less of an impact than per se shipping crops to that town and just doing festivals and talking to people. So as soon as I stopped doing part-time jobs, I started enjoying the game a whole lot more. One of the downsides of the game, once again, is a little bit of the pacing. Once I got to the point where I had more hearts and my tools were better, the game was a lot better because I could do more in a day. I think that they still punish you a little bit too much in the beginning by not giving you enough energy. And I kind of blame the problem on being that the tools actually start off a little bit too heavy and you use your energy too fast. In past Harvest Moon games, you didn't actually, that I know of, use more energy on the lower tools. It was the fact that you had to use them more to do the same job. And as they got better, they got lighter. You also got power berries in the games, which gave you more stamina and things like that. And I know that you can eat in this game, but it isn't really good to make it so you have to punish the player into eating instead of making the eating rewarding in itself. It should just make it so that the tools are more effective. If they had gone the route of just making the tools more effective so you have to swing them less often to get the same job done, I think it would have been better. Instead of dividing it into the weight and the effectiveness and the capacity or whatever else, I think that it should have just continued being a lateral increase of this, not a lateral, an incremental increase that this is better than the last watering can, or this is better than the last axe in every way, all at once. And I think another thing is that there's a lot of randomness into getting the ore that you need to upgrade your tool, and it would be nice if it was a little bit more straightforward, like you used it so much and then you could go to the blacksmith and he'll upgrade it for you, or something like that for a certain amount of money, instead of making it so you have to hopefully randomly get a rock and you need a bunch of them and money. I don't know, I just don't really like how that goes too much. I do enjoy the game greatly though, and it's not my favorite, it's not one of my favorites, but it is an improvement over the last two games, so I'm happy about that. I think Story of Seasons was worse than A New Beginning, but I think Trio of Towns is better than A New Beginning, if that makes sense. I would have liked them to change some stuff in the early game, but Story of Seasons Trio of Towns is definitely one of those games that the longer you play it, the more fun you have. Because my favorite season so far has been winter and late fall, because I got my axe to the third level, my hammer to the third level, and I could get ores faster, and then all of a sudden once you get that hammer upgraded, you can do the other ore spots, so you're getting better ore, so you're actually upgrading faster. So after that first initial really steep climb, you actually get some momentum. So you finally get your hammer upgraded, and now you can get your amethysts and stuff really easily, amethysts and rubies, and then you can suddenly make your tools go up 2 ranks really fast. So now I have a good watering can, I have a light watering can, all of my tools are upgraded at least 2 or 3 levels. And I did that all in one season because the thing that was holding me back was that the hammer was the tool that I needed to upgrade, and I couldn't upgrade it because the method to getting it upgraded was so luck-based, and I needed the hammer to do it, and I'd get so tired just trying to do that. So really, that was kind of a thing. And then upgrading the town rank, or the town link rating, helps because the shops will carry the supplies that you need to upgrade tools or to buy wood. I like that you can buy wood and ore after you get the ranking up. I kind of wish that you could just buy it right away. I think that the problem is I feel like they gate a lot of the content off and they slowly give it to you. And this game has a lot of content in it, but it's so like spread out, and it's being slowly given to you. But whenever I get something new, I'm happy. And I do want those things. Like, this game has a lot in it. I'm still getting new stuff all the time. Like, this game has a lot of content. I just think that it should be more open-ended, so you can kind of do things the way that you want. You're kind of forced down a certain path. Now, I've been thinking about why this game's cutscenes feel so grueling, same as the last game, and I think I finally figured it out. Because I never had problems with a lot of dialogue and cutscenes in the old games, but now, with the new one, all those cutscenes have been I just want to skip them, and they go on and on. I was going to say go on forever. I realized something. The character that you play as in this game does some kind of emote after almost every sentence the other person says. Like, the other person will say, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And your character will do an animation where he thinks, and he'll grab his chin and look around and think for a second, and then he'll put his arms down, then he'll look at them, and then he'll nod. And then the other person will have little musical notes come out of their head. And then they'll nod back at you, and then they'll talk again. And they'll go, "Great, that sounds wonderful." And then your character will do little music notes off of his head and make a little happy pose, where he'll spin around in a circle, and then he'll leave. And then your guy will stop and look like at the camera, or he'll just stop and go, "I should do that thing that I just said I was going to do." And they do that for almost every interaction. Not for like just saying hello to characters, but whenever it's a cutscene. It is so many reused just poses and animations that don't need to be there. I don't need my character to nod. And it isn't like it's part of the conversation either. They do it in between. They aren't nodding as they're talking. They're standing there, they talk, and then they nod, or they put their arms up, or whatever that they want to do. And I feel like that just kind of slows everything down. Another thing that I noticed is that my character is way too helpful. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I wish I had the choice of whether or not to be helpful. I think that I should be rewarded for helping people, but have the option to not. Because there's a couple festivals where they're like, "Hey, meet me here at 10. And then your character like does an animation of him talking, which nothing happened, just like a little bubble appears above his head. And the other person goes, "What is that, boy? You want to help?" And then your character nods. And I was like, I didn't want to help. I didn't want to go around, because now I have to all of a sudden go collect money from 5 characters, and if I don't do it, the festival is going to be ruined, or they're going to be mad at me or something. I would have rather just my character showed up to the event, not actually went the extra mile. Because what if I don't want to do that every time? Now I feel like I'm obligated. My character is making decisions for me, which I wish the choice was up to me as to whether or not I want to do those things. I told you this is going to be really rambly, but the game's good, but I'm just kind of getting out what I do and do not like about it. Another thing that kind of bothers me, even though I'm still liking the game, I like to focus on things, I think, or I just want to point out everything that I've thought, is that the dialogue does not change very much between heart levels on some characters. Like, I was trying to get Lisette to like me, per se, so I got her up to green right now. And she still says the same stuff she said when I first started talking to her. Like, she's giving me the same stuff. She'll say something new every so often, but the majority of what she says is old dialogue, which isn't really how you talk to someone who's a good friend with you. Or she'll just randomly say something about like, "I like running the flower shop because I know a lot about flowers. Ask me about it anytime." And then later she'll be like, "You're a good friend to me." And I'm like, "But you told me the same story since spring and you're still doing that." I'd feel like as you advance, I don't mind repeating dialogue, but as you advance through the heart levels of a character, you should be getting completely different dialogue. Even if it's just the phrasing is different for the same sentence. Like, oh, you're back at my flower shop. It's good to see you in here. Instead of being like, this is my flower shop. I mean, that's not a really good example, but it's just kind of like, it kind of just seems small talky, like you're not actually good friends like you're supposed to be. Other characters do pretty good. Like, I like some of the cutscenes. It's kind of strange because some of them give you a lot of choice as to what you do. Like, there's one where you're like spreading rumors about something and you can choose to not do it or choose to go and tell people such rumor. And I wasn't expecting that kind of option. Or you can intervene in things I didn't expect you to be able to intervene in. And a lot of the characters in this game are actually good. When I was talking about the repeated dialogue, I wasn't dissing the game in any way. What I was saying was I really like the characters. Like, overall, they're all pretty good. There's a lot of them, and I think that might be the cause of some of the repeated dialogue, because there's a lot more characters than there usually are. Because instead of there being one town, there's 3, and they populated all of them with people. I can understand why they couldn't give them a whole bunch more. I would much rather prefer 1 really good town than 3 pretty good towns, or 3 okay towns. I wish that they'd kind of go in that direction next time, kind of make it so it's 1 town, give a proper mine, give a proper, like, place to fish. Kind of have, like, a different thing going on each season, kind of change it up. Make it a story of seasons instead of a story of towns. Make it so spring's very different from summer, very different from fall, very different from winter. That's what I'd like to see. But overall, I do like Trio of Towns. It's a good game. Like, it's fun. I'm still playing it. I play it almost every day. I will pick it up when I'm at work during my breaks and play it for my 30-minute break pretty much every day, and sometimes I come home and play it depending on how I'm into it. Like I said, I'm in winter now, and I'm actually getting in the groove where I'm waking up, and now that my tools are good, I'm not getting exhausted, so I'm working in my fields and watering a whole bunch of crops, and I'm taking care of my cows and my chickens, and it doesn't take very long because my tools are efficient. And then I can go and mine up the 4 ore spots that I can do now. And then I talk to everybody, give away presents, and I go home and go to bed. I like to get in that rhythm where I actually can get everything I want done quickly. I don't want to go outside and water my crops and then have to go get food because I watered 2 tomatoes and now my character is exhausted, or I want to chop down this stump. I would rather there be like 40 twigs in my yard that I have to break, and I can just do it all in one day if I want, then there'd be 1 stump that takes me a week to break because I have to keep hitting it every day with the remaining energy that I have. I feel like, I don't know if it's because of the limitations of the 3DS, but they keep putting the farm in like 4 or 5 different sections. And I have 3 of the sections now, and it's pretty cool. It's a lot of space, but I feel like it'd be nice if it was just 1 big space and maybe having the harder to break stuff farther away. So, you know, you can really clear out the area close to your house and then make it so it's harder to clear out the farther away areas. That would have been better. But I'd rather have more work to do that I can eventually do faster than to have less work to do that I just can't do because I don't have the energy. That's like my main hang-up of this game. But I'm not at the point where that's a problem anymore. I am not at all affected by energy anymore because I have enough money from the ores, I can sell them, and I just go eat at the restaurants, which is I think what they wanted you to do was to go out to eat, because that builds up your town rank too if you eat at a restaurant, and it makes people like you more. So, and it gives you effects. So I pretty much go out to eat every day, so I do all my farm work, and then I go out to eat, and then I go and do some other stuff with my remaining energy, and then I go to sleep. Overall, the game's good. I don't mind the town link thing where you have to do like different types of achievements and stuff like that to get the people to like you more to get to the next event. But I wish they would kind of make it flow a little bit more naturally. I don't know why it has to lock. I think that it could just be part of what you're trying to do, where it gives you a big bonus towards it if you do those things instead, or those things happen. I kind of understand why they lock, but I don't know. I just don't really agree with it. But the game's good. I still recommend it. I don't dislike it at all. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be playing it. I actually do find myself picking it up and playing it a lot. It is more fun. It might have to do with the game being more like fluid. It runs better, it loads better. The layout's good, the characters are interesting. The progression isn't so slow that I don't care. And I got past that initial hump. And I mean, I was playing it where I was doing super grindy part-time jobs every day, like chop 18 stumps that you don't even have to move to do, and then weed my garden, and then take this to this person and this to this person. And it was making me not like the game, but as soon as I stopped doing the part-time jobs, I liked the game a lot more. So it actually, I probably would have bumped it up. If I did number rankings, I would have instantly bumped it up like 2 rankings by not doing part-time jobs. The part-time jobs are bad. They shouldn't even be there. Like, there's no reason for that. Now, I would have liked it better if it was like someone had a garden and you could walk up to them and they say, hey, can you water my garden? And instead of it being a mini game or like a cutscene or like the game loading, you would physically just walk over and water their plants for them. Or if you could just naturally just walk by and water it for them, and if they see you or they know that you did it, you'd boost friendship with them because you did something nice for them instead of it feeling like a disjointed mini game. You're not being pulled out of the experience. I noticed a lot of the cutscenes seem to feel like it's pulling you out. It fades to black, and then they're there, and then you're talking to them, and then they leave. It's not very natural, but the game's still good. It's still the best 3DS one that they've made so far. Unless you count Tale of Two Towns, which is actually a DS game, and on the 3DS it wasn't very good, so that's its own thing. But this is super rambly. The game's good. I want to marry Lisette, I think, or I might marry Komari. My favorite town is the Sukius. I don't know how to say it. I was gonna practice before I turn this on, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want to even try. It's the Japanese themed one. I like the music there better, and all that other stuff. I don't really understand the weather, how it can be raining in one and then not in the other, but if there's a typhoon, they're all in a typhoon, and if it's winter in one, it's like summer in the other one. I don't know. I just wish it was just one big town, or they were all consistent throughout, but that's just my 2 cents. I could go on a little bit more if I want. I don't expect anyone to listen to this whole thing. The animals, I don't really like how everything has to be so complicated now. Like, everything has got grades. It's like, this has color, size, texture, whatever. Not texture, but you know what I mean. Color, size, I forget the other ones. But, you know, stuff like that. And there's like 0 through 5 stars. Nothing can stack because everything's different in this game. Like, I'd rather it just be a tomato be a tomato. I actually, ever since the invention of fertilizer, it's rubbed me the wrong way, because I just would rather it just be a stack of tomatoes in my inventory, because now I have to worry about which percentages of this tomato is different from this one, and I can't stack them, and I don't want to merge them because it averages the 2 of them, and then I have to make sure to make seeds out of the good tomatoes. I wouldn't mind if it was like small, medium, large tomatoes, and then if you did a good job, you could take that. So like, I'm growing a bunch of small tomatoes, now there are a bunch of medium tomatoes, now there are a bunch of large tomatoes. That's okay. Like, I liked how in the old Harvest Moons there was small, medium, large milk and stuff like that, and you didn't really stack them back then, so it wasn't a problem. But I think now there's just too much variation. You pick something up and it's, this one's a 1-star milk, and this is a 1.5-star milk, but this one is different in this way, and this cow is this big, and it has this much affection towards you, and its byproduct level is this, and its coat looks like this, and its temperament's like this. I just think that's way too much. Like, there's something nice about the simplicity of the games and the story, and it's just kind of, it was more of an RPG, and now it's kind of like something different. I'd rather have more things going on with the town. That's my cat walking on something. More things going on with the town, more things going on with the villagers, more upgrades for my farm, more freedom, just having the game flow be there where you get in the game loop that's like really fun, instead of just having this kind of like groggy like system. I don't know, it's just my personal thing, and it might also be because I'm playing Harvest Moon 64 again, and I am really enjoying that, where the chickens just are chickens. They lay eggs every day, that's it, and you grow crops, and you go talk to people, and it's like time management, and it's really good. I'm gonna go off about that later. But Trio of Towns, good game. I know I rambled really bad. I tried to give a warning ahead of time. I like the game. It's good. I'm winning the festivals, it's fun. I like to beat that one guy, Mr. D. I like to try to impress my father. I like that your family members visit and stuff like that. Some of this stuff gets me the wrong way, but overall I enjoy the game, and I keep picking it up and playing it, so obviously I must like it. I recommend it, definitely. It's the best one they've made in a couple years. I think the last good one before that was Animal Parade, and Animal Parade was really good. I liked Animal Parade. I mean, it was kind of starting to lean towards the, it was like kind of like tilting the scales, but it was still good. Like it was right before they went off the wagon. But that's also their last main console game, so that might have something to do with it. Anyways, I could ramble for another 20 minutes, so I'm just going to end the video now. Thanks for watching. Leave a rating. If you made it to the end, leave a comment and tell me what you think. You can tell me I'm crazy, or you can agree with me, or you can agree with some things but not others. I'm up for discussion. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own opinions. That's just my opinion. I understand everyone has their own things that they look for, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.